I was born on the 18th of November in 1939. My name is Fred Bile, or Frederick Ari Bile, as ever you want to use. Fred is my normal name. So.
Fred is what we call you on a regular basis, or some of us call you on a regular basis. And the last name Bile, what exactly does that last name mean?
Well, Bile is, it's written B-I-J-L.
B-I-J-L?
In Dutch.
Okay.
But then if we translate it into English, it would be Bijl.
Oh.
So we didn't like that.
Oh.
So we made it Bile, B-Y-L.
Right.
So, and that means a chopping tool for chopping wood, firewood.
Like an axe.
Like an axe, that's right.
The interesting thing, the reason I wanted to chat about that quickly is that your grandchildren and your children have done a wonderful pictorial, and there's a picture actually of two grandchildren and the axe is involved, and we were looking through the pictures and going, why is that there? And then you shared with me that actually is the last meaning of your last name, which is really a really cool bit of a story. I really enjoyed that part. So when did your family come to Canada?
And on the longest day of the year, the 21st of June, we hit Halifax in 1955.
Wow.
From Holland, and it took 9 days on the boat. So we are boat people. Some people have been called, you know, as time went on.
Right.
And yeah, I'm a boat people.
You're a boat person.
Boat person.
How old were you when you came over on the boat?
I was 15.
You were 15.
Yeah.
And so there was your mother and your father that came over on the boat?
That's right.
And who else was on the boat then with you?
My 5 other siblings. My brother Cor, and my sister Marlene, and brother Harry, and then the twins, the 2 youngest siblings are twins, Ellen and Peter.
Perfect. And I think that you also shared with me a picture of the actual front copy of the passenger list of that particular ship, which we do have, which we definitely will share with folks. And that on the inside, when you open it up, you can actually see all of your family's names, which is kind of
passenger list.
Passenger list, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of the ship?
The Waterman.
The Wilderman?
The Waterman.
Oh, really?
And it used to be a troop carrier, and it came from Oregon.
Right.
And the name was Aquarius.
Oh.
But Aquarius equates to water, right?
Right.
So they transformed the name from Aquarius to Waterman.
Wow.
And there were 3 other ships, the Grote Beer and the Zuiderkruis, sister ships.
I see. So you were on one of the were on one of those sister ships.
Yeah.
Just tell me a little bit about your parents.
Well, my parents, I admire them deeply. They're working hard, and Dad did not see a future in Holland after the war. And the Korean War was on, and Dad was worried about the war expanding. And then he applied for America and Canada. And Canada called first, and that was a glorious day because he wanted us to go to Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
And Canada's glad to have you.
To give us kids a better future.
Nice.
Huh?
Very nice. So your parents were married. Do you remember when they got married?
They got married on the 10th of August in 1939.
And one of the beautiful photographs that you shared with me is actual picture of their wedding, and it's a black and white photo, which is just a lovely photo. As far as capturing your history, you've been able to share with me that you have put a beautiful book together on your family and your life. And it's very interesting. It's nice to know that someone works on those legacy pieces well, and you do that very, very, very well. So you have siblings. What could you say is one of your favorite things about you and your brothers and sisters and what you did together?
Oh, because when you first live in Holland, it's a totally different lifestyle.
Right.
I was the oldest, and my brother below me is 4 years younger than me. And I went to school, but the age difference brought him to another school than mine. We moved a couple times in Holland too, because of the amalgamation that happened in Holland already after the war.
Right.
So, yeah, to my brother and sister, I love them dearly. They came to Canada with me, and I still have a great relationship right now.
Are all your brothers and sisters still with us?
No, my younger brother Peter passed away. Yeah.
Do you see them on a regular basis?
Oh, my sisters live both in Barrie,
Yes.
and as the life progresses, my wife is in a care home now, in Barrie, and consequently, I visit my sister one week, or the other sister the other time, or sometimes twice a week.
Nice. So you have a close family relationship still with
Very
those
much.
siblings.
And my brother lives in Everett. Two brothers live in Everett, and we have a close relationship there too.
What would you say is one of your favorite childhood memories?
Well, to go to my grandparents, we lived on the western part of Holland, in Haarlem. It's about 10 kilometers from the ocean, or less. And my grandparents on my mom's side, they lived almost in Germany, only half a kilometer from the German border. But I was first grandchild. My mom was the only girl in her family, so they loved to have me there. I must have been there in my youth, 5 or 6 years, like in the summer, in holidays. And I would, mom and dad would bring me. Dad would rent a car and then bring me across, and then they would stay a couple of days, and then they would go back home again. And then in the end of the holidays, they do the same thing again, to rent a car and pick me up and stay a week with my grandparents and my mom, of course. But I have great memories in that place because my cousins that lived there always played together. He was only a year younger than me. And the tragic thing is, he's not alive anymore either. They moved, that's my uncle,
Right.
my mom's oldest brother. They moved to South Africa, immigrated to South Africa. And he got into alternation on a bank robbery. I don't know much about it,
Right.
but that's why he got killed.
Wow.
And they had also six children, as my own family was.
Right.
And one of their grandchildren, or my uncle, is living in New Zealand now.
Nice.
So the family is all
over the
across.
world, for sure.
My other cousin, if I can keep going, lives in Germany, about 10 kilometers into Germany from where my opa had the store. He had a grocery store. And he commented on the computer that opa would be thrilled to hear where all his children are settled now.
Right.
We're in Canada, we're in Germany, we're in Africa, we're in New Zealand.
All around the world.
Yeah.
Very cool. You briefly touched on cars. And one of the things that you shared with me earlier was looking through that book and telling about your life, and there's lots of pictures of cars in that book.
Yeah.
Your dad liked to get cars on a regular basis?
Dad loved cars. And if anything went wrong with them, he'd sell it, buy another one.
Don't fix it, just sell it, right?
Well, I dare say he had a car no longer than 2.5 years. But we drove it a lot, okay?
Right.
As a big family, we worked 6 days a week. Our working week was from Monday morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, until Saturday afternoon around 4. So after 4 o'clock, Mom would have everything ready, big picnic basket, then we would go to Niagara Falls and explore Ontario.
Nice.
And so we needed a good car that we wouldn't break down. But the first car that he bought was for $300, and that thing took more oil than gas.
So you had long working hours, and what kind of working was that?
Well, we worked for in the Holland Mars, and we had to cut lettuce. We worked right on the highway for Highway 9 and Rupke Road. It's there still today. And we had to start at 4 o'clock to cut lettuce because the trucks had to be loaded to go up to Hamilton on the market. And there were about 6 of us to cut lettuce. Had to cut them and pack them and right away on the truck.
So this is when you were young that you did this
I was
work.
only 15.
15 years old.
And here's a thing that maybe a lot of people don't know. We started with a lie.
No.
Oh yes.
What lie was that?
Well, I was 15,
Yes.
and the market gardener on Highway 9,
Huh?
he wanted a father and 2 sons. Well, I was kind of tall, and so my brother was also, he's still taller than me now.
Yes.
But anyway, he was 14, and we told him he was 15, and I was 16, and I was 15, I told him we were 16. So we were both a year older than what we said we were.
That was your lie.
That was a lie.
And now it's out in the open.
And in November, when the season was over, and he came to realization that we lied, he shook our hands. He said, "You guys did great." But my dad was a hard-working man, and he forced us.
Right.
He taught us. It's it's almost a not a tragedy, a trade
Right.
work. Otherwise, you won't get anywhere.
Right. That's a good life lesson, though.
And that's how my kids are like that too.
Right.
My grandsons or son-in-laws all say, "Oh yeah, these girls of yours, they drive us."
They
So-
do.
Yeah,
So talking about that, and I briefly mentioned your kids. How many children do you have?
I have 4 kids.
And who are they?
Eveline, Connie, Jackie, and Ken.
Of those 4 children, what would you say are each of their individual strengths as people?
They're very much alike. Evelyn is very bold, our oldest, but no nonsense, but very, very loving.
Yes.
And she won't show her emotions easily. And she loves us, my wife and me, very, very much. All our kids do. Connie is also that, driving and hardworking, but a little softer. She's a little bit more, Evelyn is like, "Oh, that's fine." But Connie says, "Oh yeah, I'll help," or that type of thing. you know.
Yeah.
And Connie, Jackie, our third child, is more softer again. She's my, I don't want to say it, but she's almost a favorite. And I don't mean it in the wrong
No.
way,
No.
but I lean on her.
Right.
She's well educated.
Yeah.
She does all the paperwork for me.
Yes.
And so does Evelyn. You know, but the circumstances in each family permits Jackie to be with me if she can, when she can.
Right. Nice.
I don't know how else to explain that.
Right. So those are your 3 kids.
And then Ken,
Yes.
well, he was mommy's boy.
Yes.
But I didn't mind it, and the girls didn't mind it because he was mommy's boy.
That's exactly right.
He is mommy's boy.
Yeah.
But he is outvoted by his
Sisters.
siblings.
Yes.
Whatever the girls say, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
So,
Good deal.
no, my family is absolutely wonderful to me. There's no envy, there's no squabbling. On Father's Day next week, we're all going to be invited at Ken's place.
Nice.
So he's got a beautiful place right on the Nottawasaga River,
Yes.
and there's photos from his wedding was also taken there on the Nottawasaga River.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful wife in your life by the name of Grace. Where did you guys meet?
That's a big story.
It is.
They came a year later after we did. They came from Holland on Halloween night. Their boss, my dad worked for their boss, the same guy. So my dad and the boss picked them up from Union Station in Toronto. And not knowing what's going on with all these crazy idiots and uniforms and celebrating, what do you call that? Halloween.
Yes.
So they didn't know what kind of country they arrived in.
Oh, that's true.
They didn't know what to think of it.
Right.
But the season was over, so there was not much work. The boss had sponsored them, so they had a house to go to, but no jobs.
No.
This was the end of October. So consequently, the girls all went to Barrie. They were nurses, or one was a nurse going to school in Holland, and they worked here in Barrie in the hospital. The boys went to different farmers, and Grace got a job by a doctor in Alliston. And when they first arrived, some guys that we worked for, there was 8 girls, right? And they said, "Hey Fred, there's one for you there." Little did they know that that was true.
Yes.
Yeah, I met Grace at first. We worked together in the fields a bit, and what we liked doing together is her dad later on grew cabbages, and we would cut the cabbage and throw them on a wagon with the big square boxes, and Grace would be on a wagon and I would be throwing on them.
Wow.
And we always seemed to work together without wanting to, or we wanted to, but I mean we liked each other.
Yes.
And then later on church picnics and so on, we did the same thing with eggs, like
Egg toss?
Egg toss,
Yeah.
and every time you threw an egg, you stepped one step back, and you went further and further. And we were always the winners,
Nice.
or many times anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, we loved each other, we liked each other.
Yes.
And then in 1959, my dad decided to go to another job. We worked in Borden as a landscapers. So that meant we had to move to Barrie, and then from Barrie we moved to Kingston. So that year in 1959, my wife and I didn't see each other.
Wow.
But Grace put a picture of my head, a photo, in a flower pot, and she had said, if the flower is blooming and is doing okay, Fred will come back.
Nice.
Well, we married in 1963,
Yeah.
and we were quite happy.
Yes.
I dare say we were.
Yes.
We had arguments, yeah. I don't know who hasn't,
Exactly.
but yeah.
And what did Grace do for work?
She was a housekeeper and maid for 6 children from the doctor.
In Alliston?
In Austin, Dr. Pitcher. And yeah, he was a nice man, and his wife was a masseuse, and they relied on Grace quite a bit. But there's a story there too. Dr. Pitcher got killed when the kids were in school, and he got hit on head-on on Highway 10. So then Grace stayed with them for longer than they intended to. But they really liked us. Mr. and Mrs. Pitcher loved us, and then when we got married, they gave us a whole sleep outfit for the bedroom.
Nice.
And she says, I'm going to lose a daughter. And I said, well, you can look at the other way, you gain a son.
There you go. So she had you as a son too?
Yeah.
Very nice.
Oh, yes.
That's pretty cool. What kind of work did you do while your wife was busy being a nanny?
Well, I worked with my dad for the same guy in Beaton, who had also a farm in Bradford, in Springdale, off the 400. And he wanted to explore, and he bought another land in Beaton, all bush.
Oh.
So we had to clean all bush. We did a lot of land clearing and a lot of hard work with a chainsaw. And yeah, we liked it, or how would say like it. As a family, we, without words, we were together as to save money so Dad could get his own farm.
Right.
So no money was ever exchanged. I didn't even know how much money I made. I knew how much money I made hourly.
Right.
But I did never get the money. I got the car for the weekend from my dad with gas.
Wow.
And a $5 bill for a coffee or a piece of pie. In those days, a gallon of gas only cost 24 cents.
Really?
Yeah.
We've come a long way.
Oh, yeah.
In the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So you have grandchildren?
Yeah.
How many grandchildren do you have?
10 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild.
And do you see them on a regular basis, your grandchildren?
I see them, well, right now, the first 5 are
Excuse me.
adults. They're on their own. Stephen from Evelyn, he's going to be a doctor. He's in Ottawa right now, and he's in his 2 more years of medical school, and then 2 more years of internship
Right.
in a hospital. And he's got a girlfriend who is a neurologist. I just happened to talk to her yesterday
Yes.
because I was over at Alonso, because they were 30 years married yesterday
Wow.
on the 3rd of June.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. And great grandchildren? Do you have any of those?
One.
One great grandchild.
Yeah.
And who is the parent of your great grandchild? Which is it? One of your daughters, or
One of my daughter, Connie and Michael.
And where does your great grandchild live?
They live in Stainer.
So you do see them maybe a little bit.
Oh yeah, I've
Very
seen him a couple
nice.
times already.
Very good.
He's half a year old now, so.
Would you say, what kind of a role would you say faith has played in your life?
It's quite important in my life. It has been. I've had a couple of car accidents. I've been sick. I had a stomach operation. And life as a whole, if you do not have a Lord to lean on, it's a very empty space. And I convey that, hope to convey that to my children. I do not know, they have to make their own choice. I cannot, we taught them what we knew, and they went to kindergarten, and they went to Sunday school, and they got all that.
Right.
They got the basics. And what they do with it, sometimes I wonder, because you go and they don't pray before they eat.
Right.
Bothers me a bit. But that's their own choice. They know that the Lord looks after all of us.
Right.
But you have to accept the Lord in your heart
Right.
and know that the Son of God died for our sins. And we have to confess that and believe it.
Right.
And believing is, of course, you can have 10 people in the room, or 20, or 30, or 100, and they all believe in a different way. But that's everybody individually, their own choice.
So this faith is helping you, give you strength to go through what you're going through right now with Grace.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And Grace is in, where is she? In Barrie?
She's in Owen Care Center
Right.
on Owen Street in Wellington.
And she has Alzheimer's?
Yeah.
And you still go every day, every week?
Pretty well every day.
Do you? Nice.
So at least 4 or 5 times a week.
Right.
If one of my girls is there, then, and I don't feel like it, that sounds maybe
No,
odd,
not
I
at all.
don't know.
No, not at all.
But I think she's been there a year and a half now. And I think if you missed 20 visits in a year and a half, that'll be all. We always make a point to be there.
Nice. And she still hears what you say?
I think she does, but she doesn't react to it.
No, but she still hears you.
But when I tell her, I come over and, hi honey, how are you? Nothing. She says nothing.
But
And
sometimes.
and sometimes I say, I love you, you know. And then she says, I love you more.
That's right.
So,
So every time we have these little bits of moments, they're important, right?
Yes.
For sure. So you have, you presently have some support groups that are helping you through this part of your journey.
yes.
And who would that be?
Well, I got the men's group here in Matthew House. They're a nice bunch of guys, and we don't always talk about our problems because we don't want to talk about the problem. You want to relieve from the problem.
Exactly.
But you have a common background with family and a wife or that is sick or not here no more.
Right.
So and you're all about the same age, give or take 5 years or so. And I enjoy it.
Right.
But I also have a big group in our church. It's a wonderful giving congregation. And if there's a problem, I can always go to anyone there.
And what is that church?
The Christian Reformed Church
Here in Alliston.
Alliston
Nice.
on Downey Avenue.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have a couple of really good support groups
Oh yeah.
and an amazing family.
Yeah, my own family, the Biles and the Hollemans. Because I happened to talk to my younger sister-in-law, and I said, well, you know, I love your sister until the end of my life. She says, you better, because then you have to tackle us. Yeah.
So if there's one thing you could be remembered for, what would it be? What would that be, Fred?
Me being remembered as I dare say, loving guy. But love is a hard thing to express. Some people express it quicker than others. I'm actually kind of tough. I sometimes think as Biles we are kind of cold as my wife's family, they're warmer, they're more huggy-buggy, like that kind of thing.
Huggy buggies.
No, that's what my wife always said. When the kids come home,
Yeah.
they never leave the door without huggy-buggy
Nice.
altogether. No, she would not let them leave the house without.
Huggy buggies.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But
Was it-
my legacy, what I would like to see on myself, don't be something you're not. Just be yourself. And if you make a boo-boo or you make a mistake, admit it.
Right.
Because a mistake or a fault, if you don't tell people that you have a problem with it, it'll eat you up. You got to be yourself. You cannot be somebody else.
Right.
And it's very important that you know that the Lord is behind you every step of the way.